Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the Our Turf Football Podcast. I am Dana OG. So we are going to probably have a full group tonight. Sony's going to be just a couple minutes late coming in. But then it'll be exciting. I like it when all four of us are here. So here with me right now is Kate and is Lisa. And Lisa, it's good to have you back. Hopefully we'll see you more often now.
I hope my schedule's clear for Tuesday evening. Woo-hoo! So I should be all through football season. So
I mean, honestly, the best hot takes come from Lisa. We know this, right? Like, we understand this about the group. She'll throw in a little you every once in a while, but her best hot takes are so good. So
she's got to be excited that Jordan Love's going to be getting some snaps this year.
Mm-hmm. I've always liked him. I'm excited to see him. I really am.
Yeah. Yep. You were talking about that. God, a couple years ago.
After the Senior Bowl and up into the draft, and when we got drafted, she's on the love train.
And his team seems real excited about him too, so that's even better. So that's awesome. All right, everyone. Well, we've had a busy week for our turf. Kate was in Canton covering the Pro Bowl. Jesus, I've had a day. So sorry. Not yet. The Pro Bowl's in January. February, whenever it is. The Pro Football Hall of Fame induction, which was so great. We have a couple hot topics that we need to talk about just a little bit, including Kareem Hunt. I want to talk about that little shenanigans that's going on. That's really interesting. And I made a mistake. And I want everyone to know that I know I made a mistake. I've heard from a couple of you guys. So last week on the show, when we were talking about the Jets and the Broncos, I said, oh my God, I want to see those two teams play each other. And then I realized they do. They play each other this year. October 8th. I'm skipping. If it's when the Seahawks game is, I'm skipping it because I'm watching that game. I'm watching those sidelines all I get. It was really good. So we had a really good discussion about that last week. But then Lisa pipes up.
Of course,
and she was like, I want to talk about that. So we already talked about it. She's like, I want to talk about it. Okay, Lisa, what do you want to talk about when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, the Jets, Hard Knocks, Sean Payton, and the Broncos?
Well, with me, why do we have a bro code or a code with coaches? I mean, I found it refreshing that he was so honest, right? I mean, to me, it's rivalries are dying in the NFL. NFL's getting boring. I mean, it's this just everybody, even Dana. Oh, I can't wait. I wish they did play, which she didn't know. Yeah, they do. Now everybody, man, I can't wait until the Jets play the Broncos. And once again, it's great. But yet we have to sit through hours of debates with all our NFL analysts going, why it was such a bad thing for him to do that. Oh my gosh. I thought it was a great thing to do. And I wish more coaches would do it because let's be honest, Nathaniel Hackett did Hackett did a horrible job with the Broncos. Horrible. I am sorry. Every coach, and is he not the perfect Aaron Rodgers offensive coordinator though? I mean, look what they did with Russell
for a couple years and did great.
But look with Russell with the red carpet. He got his own office. He got to play he took the preseason off. Now here comes Sean, who, here's a guy that has been a football coach. He's been a head football coach for many years. He knows how to be a head coach. That's what first year. I mean, look at the struggles they had. Timeouts. They used all their timeouts. The one game in the first quarter. Right? So
they had to use them back to back.
Why is it so bad to criticize this guy? You did a horrible job, period. I don't think he attacked him. He just attacked the job he did and the way he set up things. It was all wrong to him because now it's a whole reverse. Russell's going to play. Russell's going to get into that mindset. But come on, guys. Honestly, look at the mindset that Sean's bringing in. 10 men on the field, all the mental mistakes that they had. He's correcting that because we start practicing it. That's what's going to happen. And we saw it all season with the Broncos. Now we have a whole change. We got our starting quarterback that's going to get some snaps in the preseason. We got our starting quarterback that's going to have a little bit of a dress code. We're not going to come with these little fancy Gilligan hats and, these crazy interviews. But I loved it. And I wish we would see more coaches do it. I don't think it's a bad thing.
So I hear a couple of different things from you, and I want Kate to chime in because you also missed this conversation last week between Sonia and I, and so did Kate. And so the interesting thing about it to me was, I think that traditionally coaches don't go after each other. They say, I don't like, I didn't like the scheme, or I didn't like, they went in groups and that sort of thing. And I think that speech that he gave, that interview, really it was an interview for USA Today, was absolutely more for his players than it was necessarily for the general population. I got the feeling that he was trying to take the onus off of his players and saying, I don't blame you. I blame that coaching staff, in order to give them a fresh start. Kate, what do you think about all this?
Well, I think that's true. There is a lot to unpack in everything Lisa said.
Yeah.
When you talk about the Broncos playing the Jets, the NFL likes to do that, right? They had the Seahawks playing the Broncos when Russell went there. They had the Browns playing Carolina when Baker went there. They like to set that schedule up accidentally, so you get these games with all of these backstories to talk about. I don't know how offended Nathaniel can be, because a lot of what was said was true. But I also think with Sean Payton, with his history in New Orleans and Bountygate, which some of us have not forgotten, and how Greg Williams took the fall for a lot of that, there were some things that were not really done well when he was at the Saints. And so it's kind of like, if y'all live in a glass house, don't be throwing stones. Right. But I completely agree that was for his team, for his players. The same with this uniform. I don't know what these Gilligan hats are. Are they talking about those bucket hats?
Bucket hats.
Bucket hats.
I love my bucket hats.
That's what we call them, is bucket hats.
Bucket hats.
We got a Hall of Famer who likes to wear shorts and flip-flops on stage. So wardrobe things are not really an issue around here. I agree, Dana, that it was a locker room thing, a morale thing. It was we're going to do things differently now. We're not the same old Broncos from last year, and that kind of a thing. I thought Hackett handled it with class, coming out saying, listen, his comments were unfortunate and we're just going to move on. But I also saw some stuff on Hard Knocks where he kind of, they're playing it up as it's billboard material now in the Jets locker room as well. So now you've got, I don't know how much billboard material plays into what will actually happen on the field, but it'll be fun to see how that team, how that motivates the Jets, how that offense performs. I still think that while Nathaniel Hackett completely and utterly failed as a head coach, he is a damn fine offensive coordinator. And so there are a lot of those people in the NFL who are very good at what they do. And people are like, don't you want to be a head coach? And for the ones that say no, know your lane, know your role, know what you're good at, and do it and be the best at it. And don't let other people push you into a job that maybe you're not ready for.
Right.
And
see, that's what I think he was. That's what I think he was going for. I think it was more of saying you just weren't ready. You did a horrible job because you didn't know. Because you can't just be an offensive coordinator when you're a head coach. I found that down here in Miami with Adam Gase when he was sitting on the bench while the defense is out there. You're a coach. You're a head coach of the whole football team, not just one section. I mean, I know we have different coaches for different things, but you still have to be large and in charge. You still have to be there and oversight. And I think that comes with experience. And, I think Peyton has that experience. And I just don't, unfortunate. I don't think the comments were unfortunate. I think comments were pretty honest. So to me, it's like, I wish we had more of it. It's just, I'm so tired of this. Oh, we got to be nice. And, and then going after Aaron Rodgers, because that's the whole Hall of Fame game thing was, what do you think about Peyton's, action? And Aaron's like, oh, it's unfortunate. It's not unfortunate.
Well, what he said was, keep my coach's name out your mouth. That I thought was pretty, solid. But at the same time, it's just, I don't know. I think this is the one little bit of drama we have had this offseason, and the drama both major times have come from Aaron Rodgers. His deciding to go to the Jets. He's going to the Jets, but I think I'm going to pull it out a little longer. And now this, it came from Sean Payton, no doubt, but it'll be interesting. October 8th.
October 8th, right?
October 8th.
And this whole situation and conversation makes me want to keep an even closer eye on Josh McDaniels in Las Vegas, because he's one of those guys that I just don't think is a head coach. He needs to go back to being a coordinator. He has not done well as a head coach anywhere that he's been, and he just needs to go back to being a coordinator. We'll see how he does in Vegas.
Well, he did absolute crap last year, and now he's gutted his team, and he won't pay the best player on his team. Yep. I mean, you have to pay your running back because your quarterback is freaking Jimmy G, who can't stay on the damn field for the life of him. So pay the one guy who's going to stay on the field for you. Don't get me started. I'm telling you, I don't like Belichick disciples. I don't like them. And that was proven with the Lions head coach and Matt Patricia and now Josh McDaniels. I don't. And it's nothing against Bill Belichick. I just think he has such control issues that he doesn't let them expand and learn.
Or he reminds me of that grandma or that aunt that gives you a recipe for your favorite thing that she makes, but she leaves something out. So every time you make it, you're close, but it's not exactly the same as hers. Bill leaves a few things out. So these guys they're missing something.
That's fair. That's a definite fair.
It's just what is it though? That's the key, right? That's the $1 million piece of that puzzle, Kate, right?
Of it. Yeah.
If you could just find that one piece, and I'm telling you right now, y'all going to go, oh God, it's that quarterback. Quarterbacks matter, baby.
Lisa, I have to tell you something, and I decided I was going to say this on the air, and then I changed my mind, but now I'm going to say it anyway.
Okay, guys.
So everyone has been asking me, Dana, are you watching? Did you watch Quarterback on Netflix? Did you watch it? Did you watch it? No, I didn't watch it. Right. So everyone was giving me such a hard time about it. I finally turned it on. I got through 5 minutes because at the end of the 5-minute interview or intro, Peyton Manning says, quarterback is the hardest position to play in all of sports. Click. Sorry, I cannot deal with that. I can't do it. I'm just like, he also said in that little interview, and I like Peyton Manning. And he even said that he goes, the quarterback knows every position better than the players on the field. Oh, fighting words, dude. Like, I was like, no, click. I shut it right off.
I've had enough of this.
This is why I didn't watch this in the first place. I can't do it. Quarterbacks, giant hits. I can't do it. Oh, anyway. Kill me as you will, people. I don't care. I love my defense. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about Kareem Hunt because something interesting happened today. Wow. So Kareem Hunt is a free agent. He's out there visiting teams, or he wasn't really until today. So he went to the Saints, and a couple of the Saints reporters are like, it's done deal. Like, he's going to be here. It's done. And now he's on a plane to Indianapolis. Okay,
One guy, I'm trying to think of his name, Dan. I'm trying to get it. He reported that it was a done deal.
Yeah,
it was just a matter of,
I saw it too.
So
yeah. And I think that maybe from the impression that I'm getting, they thought it basically was, but he knew he was going to the Colts beforehand. What's interesting about him going to the Colts is Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is, out to get his ankle rehabbed. Really, we know that's not what it's about. So you're going to bring in Kareem Hunt while the dude is out trying to rehab. Jim Isray once again.
Taylor wants out, but he already told him.
I know.
And pretty much. And we had this discussion with several people too. And Kate knows. I mean, she's got the running back going up there. They want money. They're looking at Barkley to see what happened with him. They saw Daniel Jones ride his coattails and get money. So they're going to try to get what they can now because they kind of know what's going on. He wants to trade. My thing with Irsay is I'm backpedaling now because I'm like, Irsay's not going to let him go. Now I'm thinking Irsay might put him right up on that trading block and he might be going.
Okay. Let him with the rookie freaking quarterback. Are you insane?
Depending on his health. If he does put him on the block, I'd be suspicious because that would tell me he's not healed right. Oh, because a healthy Jonathan Taylor.
If he's healed right, Kate.
But here's the thing about Kareem Hunt. I had him here for years. We got him from Kansas City after that mess there. He was a model student, grade A citizen, was fine. He knows his role. He was second backup fiddle to Nick Chubb. He would be on the field with Nick Chubb. He does different things than Nick Chubb. He does different things than Jonathan does. You can have both of them on your team. They're all trying to get paid like Saquon and some of these other guys. But then you've got Tony Pollard and the guys who can't get signed. And
Ezekiel
I think
Elliott.
Kareem's smart enough to know he's a very good running back, but he's not a top 10 running back.
No.
He is bubble screens because if he can get 2, 3, 4 yards of steam under him, he's very hard to stop. He's not Jerome Bettis pounding through tackles, right? I think he understands what he brings to a team, where he's at, what his talents are, and he's looking for a team with another running back that he can work in tandem with. It gives them both less reps so that they can have a consistent game. He didn't even work out in New Orleans. Like he didn't not even a workout. They had a conversation and he was back on the Uber back to the airport.
Right. It's fascinating to me. So I have to agree with RMC here. Is raised like his father, a jackass.
But could he be playing it? Could he be playing Taylor?
But what is the logic of that, Lisa? You are the quarterback whisperer, right? Like you get this.
Right.
You have a rookie quarterback who a lot of people thought might take a year or two to develop, although he looks fantastic in camp. And I really, really like him. But I'm just saying, you have this rookie quarterback. Pay your one weapon that you have to make his life easier while he learns. It's illogical to me. I don't care if you give him a 2-year extension that's full of holes where you can get out of it. I don't care what it is, but do something to keep him on the field. And the only reason he wouldn't is if he's not healed. But I think that would have been leaked a while ago and saying that there's a problem here because otherwise it's illogical.
I don't think there's a problem. I just think I think right now what we're seeing, in my opinion, is we're seeing a kind of, a tug of war. I think I think it's a little screen. I think they're going to, kind of trying to bring it down. And I apologize. I don't know Jonathan's contract. I don't know if this is can he hold out with getting fined? I know we got to deal with an injury here too, so that's kind of a fine kind of thing. He wants out. That's been publicized. He went to his agent, said that he wants to be traded.
Right.
If he's not injured, he's a beast of a running back. He's a top 5 running back. I'm sorry.
But here's the thing. Didn't Kate, correct me if I'm wrong, Kate, didn't he come out and say, what injury? I don't have an injury. And they put me on it for injury designation. And it's I know.
What do we believe in?
Did you see Matt Ryan's comments today?
No.
I did not.
He said these last 18 months in the NFL was basically an S blank show. And that he's staying in shape. He's going to be in the booth. He's staying in shape, but there's no way he would go back to the Colts.
I'm telling you, the owner. I'm telling you, it is what it is. Oh my God.
And then he just paid $21 million to get a whale out of a tank. And he's a kind of, I kind of like I'm an Irsay fan right now. I mean, gosh.
Lisa, look at Lisa siding with all these owners and coaches.
Well, I'm not. I just he's a good guy. And he's just the headlines now. See, all the headlines with us right now are because I guess we're near Georgia Aquarium. We still got all these protesters. I guess he's paying like $21 million.
Yeah, that is true.
To rescue a whale. And so everybody's like, he
hates running backs, but he loves.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's hard to hate the guy for getting rid of your star running back.
Oh, God. It drives me insane. All right. We also want to say congratulations to Russell Wilson and Sierra. We found out today that they are having their 3rd child together, 4th child in the family. And I say congratulations to them. As much as people really want me to still hate Russell Wilson, now that we have everything we got out of his trade, I'm good. I hope you're good. I hope you're going to. Good for you, Russell.
We love Gino.
Go.
Those of us in the top boxes love Gino. I can't speak for the
Slow your roll. Slow your roll.
The top 2 of us like Gino.
The top 2.
We like Gino just fine. All right. Kate, you spent basically all of last week in Canton, Ohio, talking about or visiting with and talking to the inductees. First of all, the game, snooze fest, as we all know it would be, right? That's just the way it is. But I love seeing those 5th and 6th stringers out there, being out there, getting all excited. Oh, wait, I got to put this in there from Peter in comments. Gino will be a top 5 quarterback. Oh, God, I hope so. Peter, you're going to come back and we're going to rub it in Lisa's face. So
no idea. No, Peter, we're going to write this date down, Peter, because, when they are picking 17th, 18th, because they're just middle of the pack and they're mediocre.
Nah, won't happen. Anyway, so let's talk about the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So, Kate, tell us about your weekend. It looked like you were having a great time.
Great time. Got all my steps in. My step counter was going crazy. My voice was nothing yesterday from all the people that I had talked to. So Thursday night was a Hall of Fame game. First game of the season. First scoring drive for the Browns ended in a missed field goal. So, of course, Twitter was ablaze with get rid of the kicker.
Get rid of the kicker.
I had to calm people down and tell them, listen, we had one job, I know, but we had a backup snapper and placeholder in. Like, we're trying people out. People, relax.
Oh, boy.
So it was Browns-Jets. The Jets looked really good in the first half. The Browns looked really good in the second half.
We did.
Browns' third-string quarterback, Kellen Mond, who I think
I liked that kid, Kate. I like him.
He's a nice kid, but he couldn't get anything done. DTR, Darian Thompson-Robinson out of UCLA, who we drafted in the 5th round, came in and looked on fire. His passes were at the hands. He blocks like an insane person. I wanted to take him aside and go, dude, you're a quarterback. You need to not be blocking as hard as you've got a job. They just drafted you this year. You don't need to. He's throwing blocks like crazy. It was a very boring game, but it was interesting for me just because of my Browns were playing to get a look at some of those other guys. And then just to see how the Jets look. They looked, like I said, really good in the first half, not so good second half. That was probably just, in the second half, what you'll get in all of these preseason games is a lot of defensive coordinators just trying different lineups and not necessarily game planning for the team they're playing, but game planning plays to get a look at all the guys. They got to make a decision. They got to go from 93 here in a couple weeks. Hey, Sonia.
Yeah. Sonia has joined us.
The game was.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the game was fun. Saturday's enshrinement was one of my favorite ones that I've been to in a long time, and not just because Joe Thomas got in, so we had a really big Cleveland presence, but because they started at noon. We have been there. I know Dana and Sonia have been there with me years where it didn't start till 8:00 at night. The year Kurt Warner got in, there was nobody left except for Kurt Warner fans by the time he got to talk, because it was like
1 a.m.
Right.
And it was just, it's so unfair to those guys that when you do it that late. We did it at noon. It was very warm. So there were signs everywhere about stay hydrated and wear your sunscreen and stuff. The fans were great. They were hilarious. Big Jets presence. I don't know why I was surprised, but I guess with 2 getting in and with Joe Klecko getting in, who was one of the best defenders to ever play the game, went to the Pro Bowl at all 3 defensive positions there on the line, played in the late 70s, early 80s, and then Darrelle Revis, who just retired. If he was a first ballot Hall of Famer, you had fans that were anywhere from 20 years old to 60 years old that watched one of these guys play. So we had a ton of Jets fans. We had a lot of Miami fans as well. I was surprised. Very few Tampa Bay fans for Rondé. A lot of Bengals fans came up. A couple really emotional things in those speeches. DeMarcus Ware talking about his family and apparently his father was not around when he was growing up and saying, Dad, if you can hear me, I forgive you. In front of this audience, I'm telling you that I forgive you. And I'm just choking up. He's like, if his faith is very important to him. He's like, I can't be right with my family and my faith in my God if I can't be forgiving. And so I'm going to forgive you. And then listening to Ken Riley's widow talk about how important this was to him and how she wished he had still been alive when he got in. I had tears in the media room, and I wasn't the only one. Those are the ones that get me. It's the ones from the senior committee. And I still feel like they wait too long for some of these guys. And I'm glad they're at least getting in, but when they've already passed, they did not get recognized. Those guys that played in the 60s, 70s, 80s did not get recognized the way the ones do from this modern era we're in, the 2000s. And this was it for them. And this was their chance to stand on the stage and get some props. And so they're always my favorite enshrinees. And it always just chokes me up, especially when their family members are talking about how important it would have been for them. And then Chuck Howley was not there. He is still alive. He's in his late 90s, is not physically able to travel. So his son spoke for him and had the crowd give a "Hey Chuck," so we could all say hi to him.
That's they just said that in our comments, that the Chuck Howley induction. Hi Chuck from there.
And then every year they do a little something different in between I think they had, was it Kevin Hart one year? They had Peel.
Oh, yeah.
Key and Peele, one of them. Yeah. I can't tell them apart. I can't keep. One of them was here last year, and he did like little stand-up roasts of the Hall of Famers that were on the stage in between each one. This year they had this guy there named Steven, who is a performance artist. And I've never seen a white guy do performance art like that. It's usually an African-American thing, like the way Common does, like that poetry with the stories and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He don't look like Common. He don't sound like Common, but he did a very nice job. The bits that he did were relevant and they were fun and they were kind of moving. Of course, my favorite's going to be the Joe Thomas one because his numbers are insane. 10,363 consecutive offensive snaps, 20 different quarterbacks, 6 head coaches, 9 offensive coordinators. And when Steve did the thing to introduce Joe, he kind of did a riff off that song from Morant. And he's like, how do you measure a football life? He's 10,363 snaps and played with that a little bit. Joe Thomas from the Browns, number 73. Joe Klecko from the Jets was number 73. We had 2 Thomases. We had Joe Thomas and Zach Thomas. We had 2 Joes, Joe Klecko and Joe Thomas. So there were some things in there. And Sunday, so Friday night, I didn't get to go to the Gold Jacket dinner. That's very difficult to get into, and it's very expensive.
Yeah,
but
it is.
I went one year, and it is the most emotional of all the events for the enshrinees. Like when they see their bust on the stage before they give their speech, that's nice. Every one of them, without a doubt, gets choked up when they get to put that gold jacket on for the first time. So that one I love. And then I love the round table on Sunday. Steve Weiss
the round table was my favorite.
Job. He's been doing this for, I want to say 9 years now. And he asks them questions and they have conversations and they talk about things. There's some sad stories, some funny stories, some serious stories. Joe Thomas wearing his dress shirt and his gold jacket and shorts and flip-flops and saying, because this is what we do in Ohio. You can go to any grocery store in Ohio, any part of Ohio, in December with a foot of snow on the ground, and you will find a man in a hoodie, shorts, and flip-flops. I don't know what it is. It's an Ohio thing. I don't know, Sonia, if you ever saw that in Michigan. It's just a Midwest thing. And he asks some different questions, and they play off each other and stuff. They talk about their experiences, how they've become a family. Zach Thomas said, his kids were hanging out with Joe Thomas's kids, and now Joe Thomas's son calls him Uncle Zach, and then Joe goes, well, probably great Uncle Zach because you're so old. And they're just, laughing and joking. And then the very last question he's asked the last couple of years is who's not in the Hall of Fame that should be.
That was a great question.
And Joe Thomas both really went on about Dwight Freeney from the Colts. And I remember him playing and he was amazing. And they talked about his spin move. Joe even got up and tried to show people. He said, there are still corners in the NFL trying to figure out how he did that spin move. And here I am going to try to show you in flip-flops. He kicked his shoes off and tried to do it.
Flip-flops.
So yeah, Zach Thomas ran through a litany of Dolphins that played all the way back to, Mark Clayton that played. And then he brought up Clay Matthews, who's been a fan favorite in Cleveland. We've been trying to get him in for years. He played with on the Cardiac Kids back in the 80s. And then, of course, Joe Thomas threw that name in at the end because that's a guaranteed way to get applause from any Cleveland fans is to mention that. And then Rondé joked about he talked about his brother Tiki, and he listed off all the things that Tiki could do. And he said, if you look at his bust, it's got a beard. He's got a real thin beard. And he said he made sure to keep the beard. And when he had the meetings with them to talk about his bust, he said, I needed to have a beard. And the guy's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, because Tiki has never worn a beard, will never wear a beard. And when he gets in the Hall of Fame and you got a set of twins, I want you to be able to tell our busts apart.
Aww,
so Rondé's is the one with the beard. And I think I tweeted out a picture of him rubbing the beard. He was rubbing the beard on his bust. So it was fun. It was an interesting mix of guys, people I was familiar with, people I wasn't. I was a huge fan of the Jets in the 70s and 80s. Richard Todd was the first professional football player I ever had a crush on, and he played with Joe Klecko. I didn't know who Joe Klecko was. I had to go look him up. I was ashamed of myself for not knowing.
Well, we can't know
really line girl than a defensive line girl, so we'll let it slide. But I had at least heard of everybody else. A lot of us had watched, Rondé Barber, Darrelle Revis, DeMarcus Ware, Joe Thomas. We've seen them play.
Right.
Lisa's probably remembers Zach Thomas from when he was with the Dolphins.
Oh yeah.
And he was actually with Dallas for a year. Like his last year, I think, was like one of the first years for DeMarcus Ware because they talked about how they met in the locker room. They were there at the same time. So those things were interesting, and listening to them, so they're now part of there are only 371 men in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And Jim Porter, who's the president, I miss David Baker. I loved David Baker. That man was 7 feet tall if he was an inch, and I could stand in front of him, and from behind you couldn't see me at all. Was the sweetest teddy bear of a man, retired a couple years ago. Jim Porter is very cool. He said there have been over 35 million people who either played peewee football, middle school, high school, college, NFL, 35 million since the game started. And now women, right? Because girls and women are playing football, and only 371 have gotten to the level of making it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And that's just staggering.
Yeah.
That's staggering.
That's great.
So
it looked like a great weekend. You did great coverage for it. It looked very fun. And if you guys, it doesn't have to be during, the enshrining weekend or whatever. If you can ever just make it out there, it's really a great place.
This is actually the worst week to go see the Hall of Fame if you want to see the Hall of Fame, because it's insanely crowded. And the city of Canton is amazing. The mayor is retiring at the end of this year. He's not going to seek re-election, and he's 80 if he's a day. He has been mayor forever. And they did this little video thing where he was trying to find a new job for what his job would be after he was mayor. And so he went to meet with Jim Porter at the Hall of Fame, and they had him like answering phones and working the concession stand and working in the store. And when he was in the store, he put this lady was trying to buy a Steelers jersey, and he's like, no, you don't want one of those. And he handed her a Browns jersey. And then he walked by this row of hats, and there was like a row of Ohio State hats and then a row of Michigan hats. And he kind of looks around, and he took the Ohio State and put it in front of the Michigan hat and then kept walking. Just seriously goofy stuff that like the Ohio crowd got, and just really having fun with it. It is the biggest financial boon for the city of Canton, their whole year. The festival committee for next year started work today. They had yesterday off, and today they started work and planning for next year's festival. It's a huge event. It's really well run. But if you want to go to the hall and walk around and really see all that stuff, do not go Hall of Fame week, because it's just packed. It's packed.
Lisa, go get in now, quick, get in.
I have a question. One of the other things I want to know: did you have an opportunity to talk to the fanatic fans that go there every year? There's the Pro Football puts on this thing, and several of the Dolphin people that I know went down there. I saw a lot of the Browns. I saw the Raiders guys, and they get these coins. And they look like they're so wrapped up with it. I guess they do a parade. Did you get to talk to any of those fans?
Yeah, I talked to a bunch of them. They come to the enshrinement roundtable, and they were all outside. I talked to like the Bronco Babe and the Texan Vixen, I think it is, and the Crusader Raider, who's from England.
Yes.
And I almost got in trouble because, I started talking like I had an English accent, and I do that when I'm like, oh my God, sorry. I had to apologize to him 3 times. I snapped as many pictures as I could of them. I do have video of them doing the little parade going up to where the enshrining round table was and stuff. I don't remember now if I posted it. But it's one of the fun things. A lot of people mock them, but they are huge fans. They are very serious about what they do. They have business cards. They do kids parties and all kinds of events in their towns. There's a section of the Hall of Fame that has an ultimate fan that's gotten put in the last few years. That is very cool. It's a big deal. And they're, the Green Bay Packer guy has this replica of Lambeau Field on his head. I'm like, do you get a lot of people trying to leap on that? He goes, only Bills fans, which just cracked me up. I'm like, it's not a table. You're not at a tailgate.
Awesome.
And the only other thing I'll mention is at the Enshrinees Roundtable, they always announce the winner of the NFL Photo of the Year. And this year they were telling about going through all the pictures, and Dylan Buell won this year for a picture that's called Comfort. And it's a picture of 2 Bills players standing on the field while Damar Hamlin was down during that Bengals game. And one of the guys that was on the judging committee said that once they saw that picture, he looked around and said, I guess now we're looking at everyone else for second place. Like they knew the minute they saw it. It's just I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Wow. It's a very emotional picture. It makes you stop and think about where you were when that game was going on, how there are things that are bigger than football. So that was pretty cool. And the young man who took the picture got to stand up and do a little speech and stuff. So they mixed some of those other awards in during the course of the weekend. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it sounded great. I want to end our conversation on this by sharing Sharon's comment. Jets are winning. When I was asleep, I struggled to wake up in the AM and saw Cleveland beat the stinking Jets. Well,
So
can't say I
Last
don't.
year it was the other way around.
Rivalries, right? Those are
last year when the Browns
rivalries.
played the Jets, we were winning until the last 2 minutes. If you went to bed early, you woke up to a much worse news story the next day.
Sonia,
Hey, what's up?
how are you, darling? You finally get to talk. How are you?
I'm
Thank
great.
you
How are
so
you all?
much. We're good. We're busy. All right, everyone. Now,
good.
Sonia said she wanted to talk about one thing and one thing only tonight. And that is why she thinks Houston Texans are what, Sonia?
I think they're on the way up, you guys.
Oh,
I think they're on the way up.
to the top of the division?
Maybe not to the top of the division. Okay.
I don't know. The Colts seem to be a disaster. So who
I was
knows?
about to say the Colts are going to be a disaster, I think. But I mean, I could see them giving, Jacksonville a run for their money, I think.
What?
Potentially. You leave me alone.
I agree.
What? Oh my God.
And look at Camden says she loves it when you talk. Oh, whoops, wrong one. Sorry, hold on. Hold on. This one. I love it when mom talks.
My kids don't. No, I didn't.
Peter says they're moving up to the third place in the AFC.
Hey, they
Maybe, but
just
it's
won.
not going to be
But
to
that's-
Jaguars. Good Lord.
No. But at the same time, I think I like what they're doing. Now, granted, they did have a couple of injuries to their O-line, so that might set them back a little bit, especially with rookie CJ Stroud. But I think he's decent enough to have them have a better year than they did last year. I'm optimistic on them. Will they win the division?
Me too.
No. But I'm optimistic about them. I think they've got a nice energy going into camp. Their defense is starting to sound pretty good. They've got that kid, that running back. I can't remember his name.
Pierce.
Yes, Pierce. Yes, they've got him.
Oh,
They've
Jonathan
got
Taylor?
CJ.
Is that who?
No, that's who
Maybe.
the Colts don't have. But I'm high on these guys. I'm a little high on these guys. So I could be wrong. You never know. But I'm liking it. I'm optimistic about them.
So, Lisa, this is perfect intro for you because you have basically the entire division is nothing but a bunch of baby quarterbacks and then sunshine.
It is. And
right?
When you're rock bottom, there is no other place to go but a little up. Okay.
Right.
So yeah,
That's what
okay.
I'm
Hopefully we
saying.
will see some improvement because good God, they can't get any worse because they were last. So
They could get worse. They could
They
only
could
win
get
one
worse.
game instead of two.
well,
Right?
I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of rookie lumps with this whole class. But I mean, you've got to give Trevor the benefit of the doubt of going in with Doug Peterson and what was going on. I mean, last year you saw what we should have seen Trevor Lawrence doing 2 years ago was making improvements every game.
Yeah.
Was he perfect? No. He still has some of those misses where you're just like can turn the whole game around. Where he throws those late interceptions, he throws
so
those
streaky.
Oh my gosh! But we did see the improvement because we saw a good coaching staff. I won't say great, but a good coaching staff that is putting him in positions to learn and get better every game. So now, to me, this is his sophomore season. To me, this is where you should see him take the Jags to the first place. They should. In all reality, on paper. They should take this division.
Okay, so Camden, install more swimming pools. They'll be fine. I agree. Yeah. They're getting a whole new stadium. Why not?
Oh, they're getting a big stadium.
Yeah.
Did you see the blueprints of that bad boy?
Yeah.
No.
They're going all in.
Woo.
I do not disagree with Sonia.
I don't either.
I think they got the best quarterback in last year's draft in CJ
Stroud. Oh, you're a little biased. And they got the best defensive player in the draft last year, Will Anderson, right?
They did.
They are putting that team together really well, and I think they are going to give Jacksonville a run for their money.
Oh, good God, what's wrong?
I think
it might not be this year.
In big trouble.
Yeah, I don't think
it's not going to be this year, guys. It's not.
They're going to be better this year. I think it'll be the second year. I really like this new head coach too. I think too. Yeah, I think that he'll be really good. This is the one problem. Peter nails it on the head. Their GM will drive out talent. I agree. They do struggle there.
I'm thinking I'm liking Peter.
I know.
I like Peter because Peter's kind of like almost now, honestly, kind of siding with me a little bit on some of the issues here. I'm kind of liking Peter.
Just stop. Jacksonville only won 9 games last year. I know Houston only won 3.5, but I could very easily see in Houston getting to 9 wins. Now, Lisa, to your point, Trevor should be improving, and they should be at 12 or 13 wins next year.
Exactly.
But if they do what they did this year and stay at 9, Houston could catch them.
I don't know. I don't see Houston.
They have a very favorable schedule.
They really do. So RMC says up for the Texans, yes, but division not now. CJ Stroud needs time in the NFL, then challenge for the division. I agree with that too. But so do the other teams. So does Anthony Richardson. So do the Panthers. So does everyone. So really, Jacksonville has the edge there. You know, one only thing that would immediately take that edge away is, of course, is an injury, which we would never wish on anywhere. But you know,
is Anthony Richardson starting, or are they going to go with Gardner Minshew? I can't even say it. I'm not laughing.
Minshew.
They like what Richardson is doing. If you follow their camp, they are in love with their rookie quarterback.
Sure. You draft a quarterback number 1, he needs to play.
Yeah, that's Lisa's rule. And for those of you who might be new to our show, that is Lisa's rule. If you draft a player in the first round, they start.
They should be pro ready.
Yep, they should be ready. If they're first round worthy, then they are pro ready. Absolutely. All right, everyone. Well, that is our show for this week. So next week, I will not be here. So you will have these 3 lovely ladies to entertain you. We'll be back, of course, every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, every Tuesday night. And 2 weeks from today, we are going to do our fan question show. So we are going to put out questions. We want questions from Twitter, from Facebook, from Instagram. We want we want questions from our live chat. And for those of you who watch
answer questions, Peter. Ask questions, Peter.
Lisa, either watch us on Facebook or watch us on Twitter. Please come over to YouTube. Join this chat. We love it when you get in there. Look, you make friends with Lisa. She decides that you're her people, and that's just really fun. And so please, that would be fantastic. That we would love that so much. Also, once again, we want to thank Donkeys Cheesesteaks for sponsoring our podcast again this season. I know, hey, we actually have shirts now. And they have 3 locations in New Jersey. They are in Medford, Camden, and Mount Holly. Don't even need prompting with that anymore. But more importantly, you can go to goldbelly.com. And you can look up Donkey's Cheesesteaks and they will ship it right to your house. And we have done that a couple of times and it is delicious. So thank you so much to Donkeys for sponsoring us again this season. All right, everyone, we will be back next Tuesday night. I hope you all have a great week and enjoy. Oh, we were supposed to do. Oh, I forgot. See, what? Kate went on so long about the Hall of Fame. We didn't even get to.
No, I could do another hour on the Hall of Fame.
Preview the games coming up. So next Tuesday, we will go back over those games and preview next week. All right, everyone. Enjoy the first week of preseason. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.